Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
Chemda, how are you?
I'm all right. What's going on?
Well, right before the show, of course, there's painters right outside the literal window making bonks and bangs, and, they have to whistle to each other for attention, to move the scaffolding over this way and that way. And so I'm thinking, well, I don't know that we can do a show this way. And we have a guest which, adds to the questioning. And then Chemda says, okay, but I'm not sure what to do. I'm ready to kill myself. I'm going crazy. What should we do? And I go, okay, in that case, we can't do the show. Well, that wasn't the answer. He goes, no, okay, we have to do the show, blah, blah, blah. So then every so often, every 5 seconds, there's absolutely no noise. And Henna's like, Keith, are you ready? I'm like, it's only been 5 seconds. And she goes, Keith, you're so sensitive to the sound. You can't hear anything. Now, I understand I have this super hearing, and I can tell when somebody's literally rolling paint on a wall without looking.
That was very special.
But let's not act like the other bonks weren't happening. So now I don't know when to take the other stuff a certain way. And don't ask me for advice that when I give it, you go, no, that wasn't an option. That's asking your partner out, saying, hey, you pick where we want to go for dinner, and they keep going down a different alley as you're trying to take them to the restaurant.
I sincerely didn't think that's what was happening. I definitely heard the bonks. I wasn't trying to deny them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they stopped happening,
For 5 seconds.
I was feeling hopeful, and I was sharing in the hope.
Mm-hmm.
You look like you're going to die.
Right.
Or kill me. So I would just like to keep one of us alive.
Well.
And I'm trying to be as patient as you are.
Patient? You're rolling your eyes going, Keith, you're so sensitive. It's not a big deal.
What do you think you were doing? Let's talk about how much I was
I said
doing.
we can't do the show. I was having an answer. I had the answer. Not now, period. And you were like, well, no, it wasn't really a question. So now what do we do?
I don't think I asked you that question.
No?
No, I did not ask you, should we do the show?
What did you ask? You said, I don't know what to do.
I said, let's wait a second. Let's listen on mic because I don't think the mics are picking
Bonk.
up.
And Chemda goes, yeah, I heard that one.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you're so frustrating.
You're so pleasant.
Because I had the answer.
I swear to God, if you make me call Andrea, it won't be good.
Okay, come on over,
All right.
Andrea. And he's going to tell us what happened in the room.
Okay. All right.
All
Andrea Allan, our dear daughter.
I mean, I don't know how to tell you that the bonks outside are most likely not going to show up in the recording, because if they do, then you blow my head off with a shotgun. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like, it's going to be okay, because I can't say that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they're not going to show off. But Chemda was just trying to be pragmatic. No one's gaslighting you into thinking that there's no noise, but then what's the alternative? We send the guest home? I mean,
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
Do I have to be introduced to speak up here? Mars? I also
Ladies and gentlemen, Katharine Heller.
Hi. Sorry about that.
So we have a guest, happens to be the coolest customer in town, does podcasting for a living, helps people with their podcast, that kind of thing. She'll get it.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for having me back.
Are you enjoying this comfortable environment?
It's so good. I get like I'm getting the divorce vibes, when you were a kid and you're like, oh no, what did I do, right? So the two of them have been fighting. Keith, I mean, this has been a wonderful foray into what happens. It's like at a zoo watching
an insane person,
a white man get gaslit and freak the fuck out. And where are the hysterical ones? No, but there were noises. This is true.
Thank you.
That's all I know.
No one's.
By the way, how simple. So how simple
Okay.
Katharine's
Yeah,
able to calm me down by going, yes, there were noises. You're not insane. And we're thinking maybe the noises are calming down. Now we can have a conversation
Right.
about our noises too much. But to act like, oh, there's been 5 seconds of silence, what's the big deal? That's where the problem is, because now I know I'm alone and I have to be the only one who gives a
you just
shit
need
for
to
my
be
audience.
Scratch behind the ear and told you're a good boy.
Yes.
There we go. Now we can have a conversation. Yes, there were bonks and noises, but I
Thank
agree with
you.
everyone else that I don't think we could have heard them on the air.
That's fine. But thank you for acknowledging the bonks and noises and whistles.
Oh, men are so not emotional.
Well, thank you, Katharine.
I love this. We're like the calmest people right now, and he's like, but there were noises. Thank
Yeah.
Thank you for acknowledging it.
Yeah,
You're welcome. You're welcome, Keith. You're a good boy
Thank you.
and an excellent producer.
Thank you.
I don't know. I recorded yesterday. I said to you I recorded yesterday, and there were bonks and noises, and I didn't hear it on my recording. So.
You didn't say that.
Yes, I did.
Did she say that?
Yeah.
I think
Early on.
Here's the thing.
I didn't hear anything.
I think that there was very high emotion, but I think that you're taking it as you were the only one emotionally connected to this, and you were not being comforted, right? Where you
Not
weren't
comforted, right? Just taken seriously. There's going to be bonks and noises on our perfect audio.
When have I not taken you seriously? When have I not walked you through whatever you need to be walked through? And when have I just dismissed you 100%?
Just now with the bonks and noises.
Is that your worst complaint about your partner?
I don't think that I did that, but it could have come off like that because it was high tension. But I think that you just describing this as me rolling my eyes at you and just dismissing everything is not what happened.
I don't think Hemda was being dismissive of you. I really don't.
Thank you, Hemda.
I was being dismissive of you. I want you to
See?
know that. I am still being dismissive of you. I don't think you
understand the
have the-
energy that you put out when you're being angry and how much people are walking around it. And then when you describe it as you're just being dismissed, it's offensive, but I have to be even calmer so that you won't have me calling it offensive, a new thing that you get to be upset about. There's a lot of emotional shit happening, and it feels like you're the only one who's feeling it, but you're not.
Well, I know you're feeling it too because you didn't know what to do with the show. So I'm like, all right, then I'll pick.
Okay, there wasn't a definitive answer that I felt comfortable with. I was still walking myself through it, so I was walking you through it. But we both seemed rushed, and we both seemed out of sorts because this is a very tough situation. You were not out there alone, like you're expressing. You were with everybody in this room, and everybody in this room was on your side, even though we weren't agreeing. We're all still on your side.
Didn't you say you didn't know what to do? And wasn't it driving you crazy?
I think we were both being driven crazy.
No, I'd say we just don't do it at the time.
Well, it's too late now.
Well, I wanted to give it a few minutes before we just dismissed the entire show.
Oh, no, it was more than a few minutes, of course.
Okay, but it seemed like it worked out. I wanted to take a few minutes. If you didn't, that's not what was fully expressed. You took the
that's
few
not
minutes
true.
because I asked for the few minutes, and thank you. But for you to come on and say like you were completely dismissed, that I was gaslighting you about bonks, it was high tension, and we might not have heard everything that the other person said because we were disagreeing and we were not sure about what to do. So not everybody is treating you like shit because you feel like shit.
Just two people. Katharine was great. You were great, Katharine.
I'm just so happy to be here and not at work.
That's the environment we create, not your job. That's how fun it is
You're
here.
at work, so I don't envy you. I'm like sitting back. You know when you're watching someone else
Yeah.
working and you're like, make my sandwich.
You're watching a train wreck go down and going,
Yeah.
thank God that I'm not in this.
Literally,
Oh,
it
wait,
was-
I am.
I've
Let's do a
also,
show.
I've also never seen Keith mad. I've seen you mad, but I've never seen Keith mad. Interesting.
Now watch him say that he's not mad. He
Enjoy.
wasn't mad. He's never mad, and he never gets mad.
I was mad that me and him are trying to talk in code. So if one of us has to come up with an answer, that's the way it seemed to me, then I have to be the one.
You were
And-
talking in code?
Yes.
What? I voted you off the island also. I said cancel it anyways because I don't even want to
Wait,
hear
were
what
the
Katharine
bonks
has to
and
say.
noises actually just Morse code? Was it
Yeah.
like that was just you talking to each other, and then you were like, wait, was that you? Was that me? You could have just said to me, we may have to cancel the show, and I'd be like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Well, I'm glad everybody feels good.
Aw, how are you feeling now? Well, now there's an airplane outside. Cancel the show.
These workers are doing everything. They're driving trains. All right. Thank you, Andrea. You cleared it up.
Oh, I certainly did. I mean, I don't know what answer you want from me. I just
None. I didn't ask for you.
yeah, you're the best. You're the best to work with and for, and no complaints. You're pleasant, and you don't grate me psychologically in any way, shape, or form. I don't go to meetings to calmly deal with your fucking emotional issues. Bless you.
Bonk whistle. Well, let's start the show. That was fun. Keith, are you really mad though?
No.
Are you mad, Chemda?
No, I was mad. I don't think it was like some level of mad that needs to be worried about, but I think I just talked it through it. I think that, it seemed like you felt like you were being dismissed. I wasn't trying to dismiss you.
See, look at that. I could be a couples counselor.
You did good.
Yeah.
Maybe if you met me years ago, you wouldn't have broken up.
Oh, I'm so glad we met later.
And we're back.
You could be a couples counselor because we know we'll never be a couple.
This is true. I have no worries at all that you're going to break up.
This is what's fun. Like technically, we are working exes, like because we used to date. But we have to remind people that, which is such good news for the people we're dating now, because I feel like if you heard that, like, I'm business partners and co-host with my ex,
Right.
then be like, oh, well, what is your boyfriend? Just sit in the room with us and understand that there's no vibe.
Yeah. No more boinks and no more whistles.
Oh, my girlfriend loves these conversations. She's like, yay. Some of the audience doesn't. It unnerves them. My girlfriend loves it.
Yeah.
She plays on repeat.
Yeah, if you ever thought that we should stay together, just rehear the beginning of this show.
No, I'm very glad for the both of you.
You know what's interesting? I'm a very sound sleeper. Nothing wakes me.
Oh, he's so wrong. Wait, do you really think you're a sound sleeper? Oh my God.
I don't know. Who cares anymore?
Oh my God. You wake up if somebody like moves next to you. Maybe because you have a sleep number bed now.
Yeah.
No joke. I'm not
Yeah.
even kidding. I know that that's our ad and it's not our ad right now. But it's two different sides of the bed while you're sleeping in the same bed. And maybe that's not, because I would wake up to pee and he'd be like, why are you waking me up just because you need to pee? And I'm like, who the fuck is waking you up? Oh, I feel like you're making noise so that you don't have to be the only one awake. And I'm like, I'm trying to stay sleeping while I pee. So I don't know why I would need you awake, but it is fascinating that you think that that's
I think
what I'm doing.
subconsciously, I do think she used to get up.
Oh my God.
If she got up before me,
Put up scaffolding, start painting, making noise, riding a train.
now why does she have to do that at 8 a.m.?
I know. No, that's different. That I would be upset about.
It's so funny because that goes nothing with my personality that I would like. Oh, are you awake? Oh, I guess let's hang out, have breakfast, go have brunch, and come with me to Starbucks.
Yeah.
No, you're just a really light sleeper.
That was us on tour, though. We would get up early.
We would get up early.
Yeah, we were quiet.
Did you catch me trying to wake you?
Yes, all the time. We would put his hand in warm water.
I want to hear from the audience if you think your partner does this and they think you're insane. That
Why
they
would
wait.
anyone do that?
Does Kyle do it?
Well, we don't live together.
But I mean, you sleep together.
I'm thinking somebody that lives together and they wake up early, and then when they go to get their underwear or his morning clothes, do they close the drawers a little too
But you
loud?
have sleepovers. Like you're
yeah, but I don't
adulting.
have her clothes at my place, etc. You know.
Yeah, no, it's not like
Oh, okay.
a daily thing. But I wouldn't do that. I would just say, I need you to be awake right now. But when you live together, it's kind of nice when somebody sleeps sometimes because then you just get an hour in the morning.
Oh God, I used to wake. I still
I always
wake
think
up at,
it's subconscious. I hear if I'm sleeping with a lady and the next morning she's making, let's say, coffee in the microwave and she slams the door as opposed to thinking I'm sleeping and holding the door, holding the that button open.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, how isn't this deliberate? Then it's just rude. I tiptoe when somebody's sleeping.
Me too. I will give you that it's rude because you got thoughtless for a second and you slammed the microwave when you know, like, I can hear it in the other room. So you should be a little thoughtful while someone's sleeping. But I would never do that on purpose.
I love hearing when I lived with someone, like the noises they would make when I was asleep. It made me feel really comfortable.
Oh, really?
Like knowing that someone's in the house that's not an intruder.
Oh, that's
Do you know
funny.
what I mean? Like someone's there.
Oh, you mean you like being a woman? I'm with you, Keith, that like if someone's being loud, if I'm sleeping, oh my God, Xerxes does this. And we talked about it, so he doesn't do it anymore. But so if he wakes up or like if I fall asleep, he won't notice that I fell asleep. But I thought he might because it just went silent for a while or like it's morning and how do you know if I'm awake yet? He'll at normal volume be like, so I was thinking, and I'm like, oh! And I literally do that, and he'll keep talking, and I'm like, did you not notice that? No more thoughts. Hold on. Hold your thoughts.
Aw.
You don't know that I was asleep, and he's like, oh, no, I thought you were awake. I'm like, no, you were awake. You were awake, and you decided to speak at regular volume. And he's like, oh, what was I supposed to do? I'm like, when you're awake and it's possible that I fell asleep or I'm still sleeping, you must check first.
I wouldn't do that unless there was a fire. You know what I mean?
I remember dating this woman. The next morning, she would slam the microwave at like 6 in the morning for her coffee, and I'd go, "No more thoughts, no more thoughts." It didn't work out.
Thoughts, the best brand of coffee there is. Speaking of coffee, tell us about your sleep number a bit.
Right? That's so good.
Huh? That's why I get paid the big bucks.
No, but I never did anything on purpose like that.
No, I don't think people do. I think people.
No, I think people do.
Really?
Yeah, I do think because people don't have a voice and don't think that like they'd rather be like, "Oh, you were awake," than sincerely go, "I wish I can have some time with you in the morning," because then that means you have to express it, and if the person doesn't want to do it, like it's like, "Oh, I can tell you that," but then I'll think that you're faking it, you're doing it just for me. I'll start feeling guilty, but like I'm over that.
My ex, we had a railroad apartment basically, and so the kitchen is far from the bedroom. And I'd hear the microwave slam or a cabinet slam. And I'm like, this has to be deliberate or worse.
I think
And of course, she said it wasn't deliberate.
for her, I think it was thoughtless. And it's one of those things where you seem really petty because you used to say like the cabinet doors are open and it drives
Well,
me
no,
nuts.
I'm closing them. What's the problem?
Well, I don't think that's petty to dislike that. But at some point, you would have to decide I'm the one who's going to close the cabinets. But instead, you decided to divorce.
You know what I hated more than anything? When I put on my makeup, it's a personal like expression.
It does feel personal.
And
yeah.
my ex used to stand right there at the bathroom door and talk to me while I'm putting on makeup. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm making weird faces, like all this stuff. And I had to tell him, please don't do that. Like, I don't like having people watch me get dressed. Like, it's a very personal thing.
I
Like,
can't work on my eyes if my tongue is in my mouth. I don't want you seeing all this stuff.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Question for you.
Uh-huh.
Why didn't you close the door?
Well, I didn't want to be rude.
Interesting.
Oh, also the makeup I have to keep because we had a small bathroom. I had to keep the makeup right outside the door. There's a situation we have. No, it's like a nice little thing, but
that's funny.
that's where all the makeup is because I sometimes take to the city for auditions and stuff. So it's like transportable. So my makeup sits right outside the door of the bathroom. So I'm like reaching like this, but it's because the cabinets weren't big enough.
That's funny.
So
That's New York for you.
yeah, but like standing right in my face, and it's like I just don't want to talk right now. You know what I mean?
I do think
Is that petty?
somebody entering the bathroom, you have to consider stopping to talk even if the door is closed.
Yeah,
But I do leave the door open if I want you to talk to me,
but
which means I'm not peeing or pooing.
But watching me
We
do
just-
makeup when I've asked you 10 times, can you please not? I feel uncomfortable.
Oh,
And he
yeah.
just kept forgetting.
Oh, I
So
see.
did he? Well,
No.
I'm rethinking everything now.
No, let's quit acting like everybody's so stupid.
I know. Maybe he was trying to tell me. He's like, I'm fucking that girl. And I was like, shut up. I'm putting on makeup. Maybe he was trying to tell me.
My partners liked it when I said they were intelligent. Now they're so stupid.
That is interesting to forget these silly things.
I would have to, there's a few things I'd have to say a couple times. Being like, I said this to you kindly, like, oh, it's a me thing. It's weird. I just don't like this. That's all, and then he's like, I just keep forgetting. And it's like, yeah, now it's a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
It's not even once a year
Absolutely.
birthday. That I would understand you forget, honestly.
Right,
And that's the one you never forget, right? But
Not if I keep reminding you every week.
but if it's every day, it's my birthday. Guess what tomorrow is? My birthday again, isn't it? So get the fuck out. Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Here she is, host of Tell the Bartender and Struggle Bus. Kenda and I was just on Katharine's show, Tell the Bartender, and Kenda was talking about her ex. I was talking about gaslighting my dad, and very fun. It's weird to sum up everything. In fact, I'm going to have some exciting news at the end. I'm going to give you a link that Andrea put together all the different times I talked about the dad emails. You'll have one solid 16-day-long file that you or your friends can catch up with.
That's cool because then you can, like, we're putting it in order,
Yes.
like we're basically reading the emails to you as they happen with the guests that we talk to them.
Yeah, we only got to the tip of the tea, as it were, with both your stories, but it's such an amazing story, and thank you both so much for being on. I'm getting so much feedback and some donations
All right.
from your listeners and my listeners, and people writing like, that was bananas. Somebody told me the other day, I almost
Isn't that funny, by the way? They're saying Keith's insane. I'm like, all right.
they no. It doesn't,
This guy's fucking his father.
No. The whole story is just really intense.
Yeah.
A woman told me that day, she's like, I almost called you after listening because my jaw was like dropping on the floor. One of the listeners of Struggle Bus said, I had to stop putting on makeup several times because I could not stop listening and rewinding. Oh, by the way, your last guest, what was his name? Dylan something? Dylan Adler?
Yeah. The piano guy.
I rewound his Hamilton impersonation.
Yeah, it's so good.
Like 20 times, and then I recorded it on my phone and sent it to people, and I was like, you have got to listen to this.
Little Michael Bublé followed by Lin-Manuel.
The revolution. I can't. It was such a good episode.
He's amazing.
We can build a snowman.
He's so young too.
Yeah.
Is he? He's like 22.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He's so talented.
That was an Andrea Allan find.
Let's keep talking about him for the rest of the show. Anyway, back to me.
You know what's funny? And like we came on your show and we talked about all that stuff, and we talk really freely and openly about stuff like that, and we forget that that's not what people say. Like if
What do you mean?
If somebody was pretending to be their ex so that they can fuck with their dad, they'd probably keep that to themselves and tell someone on their deathbed. But we're just like, we have a file for you that sums up the whole thing. I think podcasting has taught us how to speak very oddly open.
Well,
Right.
I think that we're naturally oddly open, and in a very strange way, I think we're helping people by being honest about how messed up things are. Like, you know, I was talking about you're this majorly successful, incredible woman, and yet you still
She's
got...
talking to Keith.
Everything's fluid. I'll
and yet
take
you
it.
still got your heart broken, and you are this incredibly successful, amazing person, and you had a really rough childhood. And I think that people people relate to it. And I think that's why people like your show is like we laugh and all that stuff. But if you're really open about things, you find that we're not alone. And I think that if anything, we're doing a favor.
Yeah, everyone's gaslighting their dad.
Sure. Well, it's funny, right? Well, it's funny when you realize the lines of, you know, I don't even want to say, let's say, which I almost said, of abuse. And, you know, when somebody's raped, molested, beaten, cigarettes on the chest, that one's quite clear. But when it's weird stuff I'm realizing my dad did, or when you're on the recent episode of My Opening Line and you're talking about you're a kid, and you're in making a kite competition, and last minute your dad jumps into this competition and makes a little tiny kite that's so impressive the judges have to say, I guess this one adult wins. When you go home, by the way, and he's the grand champion of the kites, does he lay the kite out on the kitchen table?
Yep, I was crying, and he's like, "Well," and my mother was consoling me, and I think they got in a fight actually, and I remember just running upstairs and wanting not to be a part of the family anymore.
Does he try to make up for it the next day? Let's go fly a kite, not yours.
I mean,
Mine has twin wings.
There's so many stories about him. It's so funny. I didn't realize, and I saw the feedback in the forums about like, yeah, Catherine's dad's fucked up. And I know he's fucked up, right?
But here's the thing. So up until this moment, we know like Andrea's dad's fucked up, Keith's dad's fucked up, my dad's fucked up. Keith has been winning that race like hands down, and we have fucked up shit to say about our dad. Andrea sometimes gets close.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
But then we interviewed you for My Opening Line. We've had, like you said, a huge response. We interviewed for that, and we're like, wait, I don't know whose dad is more fucked up, yours or Keith's. And no one, we polled our audience.
Yeah.
Whose dad would you rather have, yours or Keith's? I thought 50-50.
At least.
You know, I thought like, man, 60-40 either way, whatever. 99% don't want your dad. And these are people, I think, who have had cigarettes put out on their chest.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, thank you, your dad.
Would they rather have their own dad or my dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after like being beaten by their father or like being, you know, tossed out for whatever.
The devil you know. They don't know what's up with my dad.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like knowing your dad more has increased the what the fuck aspect of it and like the devil aspect of it. It uncovered like how mean and like, I want to use the word maniacal. I don't know. And then Katharine Heller comes in.
Yeah.
How
Well,
are you alive?
I'd like to say I won, but I'm the real loser here, I suppose. No, I didn't even tell you about the time you put a dead rat in my bed. I mean, we have story after story. He is
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. If I didn't eat all my food in the living room, it was left on my bed. So were you trying to eat a rat?
Is that what happened?
Wait,
No,
Keith?
no, my dad wouldn't do that.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I did have, but you know what? That passive aggressive stuff bothers me so much that I did have a roommate put food on my bed that like I left a plate in the. I almost punched him in the face.
my dad did that to me.
I said,
so
don't you ever do that.
my dad would leave food around the apartment when he was mad at my mother before he moved out because she left him. And we got a major cockroach problem. He wanted us to get roaches in our bed, and we did. And that's why I hate cockroaches. It goes pretty deep, y'all.
Wait, say that again.
He would put
But as Hamilton.
He would put food on the bed of revolution. I don't know. My dad would put food on the bed, and
He wanted roaches?
yes, he wanted us to get a roach infestation before he left.
Wait, so he would put not food on a plate, just food on your bed.
Everywhere,
What, like spaghetti? What are we talking here? A
everything,
steak?
trash.
Was it ever good?
He would
Just waking up with roaches in your bed is not a good memory. So
But it's just to. Is it none of this
he's an
makes
emotional
sense? Don't get-
terrorist.
This isn't so like you learned a lesson about keeping clean. This is I'm leaving now,
Yeah.
so you live in squalor.
Yes.
How old were you?
10, 11 at this point, yeah. Yeah. I know. There's so many stories.
He looked in your 10-year-old eyes and said, I hope a roach lands on there later.
I mean, he didn't say that.
I think he did.
Now what happens the next? Now, he'd be living there, and he's like this is more than one day that he does this.
Yeah, he did a lot of things.
Okay, but
That's when he pretended to kill himself and all these things in front of my
You
sister.
wait. Keith,
I
goodbye,
told you this.
your dad.
Right?
I told you this, right?
I'm sorry. You probably lived it and want to forget it, and I forgot it for you. I don't know.
No, I'm working through it in
but
therapy.
the next day, when you see, was he physical?
Physically, no. He's just emotionally abusive.
So the next day, do you say, "There's food on my bed again, weirdo"? Explain yourself. Like
He would gaslight me and just say, I don't know what you're talking about.
Whoa.
Oh, I have emails and shit that from the time he emailed me about, like, I never did any of this.
I
And
feel
it's
like gaslight has to be clever. You know what I mean? It sounds like a clever word. Not
No.
I didn't do it.
No, that's the worst about
gaslighting.
gaslighting is
But
it-
you knew he did do it.
Of course he
that's
did.
what gaslighting is you know it and the person's looking in your eye with full sincerity and conviction and going, what are you talking about? And it's
Exactly.
crazy making.
So when I did my one-woman show, I told many of
you
these
could do a
stories.
2-woman show.
I could do a sequel. When I did the show, I actually did a fact check because I said to my siblings, "Did I make this up?" I put the script to my mother, to my sister, my half sister, my brother, and they were like, "Yeah, this did happen," and also this happened. Like everyone has story after stories that I forgot about. You know,
This is why I feel bad for single kids sometimes. You know, just like what do you call those solo ones?
What?
Only child.
solo sibling.
You solos out there, because if I and my brothers and I got different forms of this shit. You know, my older brother got like a very emasculating, very weird situation. I got a very also emasculating, to be honest. There's just no female word for it, but we got the male female. My younger brother just got all the tension in the house. But anyway, I forgot what I was going to say, but but at least I could turn to one of them and say something, or like in the memories, like when I see Keith and his siblings, they relive it, but they relive it together, and they know like, okay, that's crazy. That was crazy, right? Like, who do you turn to as an only child and go, that's crazy, right?
So, okay, this is how deep it goes. When your episode came out and you talked about my dad after I was on my opening line, and then you had that poll, I texted my sister who was out of the country, and I said, so there's this really amazing podcast that I went on tour with, and they're super popular, and I think the world thinks that our dad is the worst now. And she said, you know what, it's just a nice therapeutic feeling knowing that we're not making it up. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And she actually thought it was hilarious. She's like, good. I hope the world fucking knows. And we're getting to the point now that we do talk about it, because we didn't for a long time, because it was traumatic. And her shrink has started using the word, like, use the word emotional terrorist, because he would just like attack us, but not physically and not sexually, right? So we couldn't put a word to it at the time.
Yeah.
You don't
It seems
think
like
about
you're
it.
just being not grateful, because what is really happening to you?
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard. And my mother did the best she could, and she, got us out of the relationship with him, but he's the one who, she tried to have us have a relationship with him after the divorce, but she saw that he was just being so abusive. And
Wow. What's the rat thing?
oh boy, it's a long
Well, if the roaches aren't
story.
coming fast enough, you got to bring your own shit.
Okay, so we had a house on Block Island. We had a summer home, and they split up the weekends, right? So my father immediately.
Where's Block Island, New York?
No, it's off the coast of Rhode Island, so
Okay.
little island. So they split the summer house for one very awkward summer. So my father, who miraculously got a girlfriend 2 days after the divorce. So you got to wonder about
It's
that.
what you put out there.
Exactly. Anyway,
Apparently texts weeks before.
yeah, that was a whole other weird situation. Anyway, so they were splitting the time, and I was at his house, and they lived together because they moved in together immediately. I'm now rethinking about what really happened, and I overheard them saying, "Oh, be careful! There's a rat problem." And my father's like, "Oh yeah, you got to watch out for the rats. There's rats in the house." And you know the way they were saying it was like performative.
Yeah, and this woman's into it.
Like the girlfriend's in on it?
She is so in on that shit. So then the next
How do you find these other people?
Everyone sucks.
I know. So they're still together. And
Ooh, sure they are. I'm sure he's very faithful.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I went to my mom and I said, I think that there's rats in the Block Island house. She goes, no, there's not rats. And I was like, no, but Dad told me there were. And she's like, there's not. So
Your poor mom who can't just shit on your dad because that's not going to help your child.
She tried so hard.
Yeah, but you also can't, because what you would love to say is your dad's a fucking asshole. Please don't listen to him because you're going to turn into a fucking asshole.
Well, so here's the best part is we get to the house and it was late at night and I was so scared of the rats that she's like, you know what, you can sleep in the what we call the sick bed, right, which is the pull-out couch as opposed to upstairs, right? So we pull out the sick bed, and she's like, "I'll sleep in your bed. You can sleep on the couch because we get to watch TV and stuff." And it was like a treat. Right. And there's a flat, dead rat with tire marks on it in the pull-out couch that my mother was supposed to sleep on. So that was meant for her. But then I saw it, and I was like, "He put it there." And she
did you know right away, or were you
right
too young?
away, right fucking away? We're all empaths. We know because it was too much. It was like. Oh, there's
By the way,
rats.
sorry. Is that why you think you're such an empath? Because all these stupid fucking things you knew as a kid? No shit. The bed didn't drive over a rat.
Well, so my mother, God bless her, I start screaming like, it was him. He did it. It was him. Because at this point, I'm just like, I don't know what to believe.
And how old were you?
I was 11. Yeah,
Okay.
10, 11 at this point. And she said, no, there's a reasonable explanation for this. And you know when she's trying, and I can tell, and she goes, maybe, there was a sick, recently run over rat, and it just crawled in the bed, and they accidentally, and I was like, no. And she's like, okay, you're right. But it was intended for her.
Wow.
Because she went to the bed she was to sleep in, and this is where it gets really worse. Sorry, I'm getting all a little bit emotional. But I did tell the story in the show, so I don't mind telling it. She went to the bed she was supposed to sleep in, and there was like a stain, and it smelled like polyurethane. He doused the bed with this stain so that she would want to sleep in the pull-out couch.
Wow.
He actually put like a chemical on her bed.
Are they both doctors, or that's the new girlfriend?
Okay, so my dad is a doctor, no, my mother is a PhD. He is a doctor. She is a bullshit doctor. She makes it up in the book title. Maybe she's a doctor. I don't fucking know.
The new girlfriend.
Yeah, my stepmother. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Oh, okay. So what is he a doctor of?
I believe he was a marine biologist or something, and now he does diet books.
Like it's a lot. I'm not shitting on your mom. Obviously, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But she does have money, right? Being a doctor, can't she just go a fucking rat in my bed? I think anybody I would date would be like, get the fuck out of here.
Didn't graduate until I was like 18 or 17. She was still in school.
I see.
And he stole money from us.
Okay.
And they stole money from her, but I don't want to get too into that because
Sure.
Well, I don't give a fuck. He stole money from all of us, and we were flat broke.
Like in cash or in your name?
Everything.
Wow.
Did you have bad credit as an adult because of that?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, he didn't do it then. But he didn't pay for college, and he didn't pay any child support. He paid very little child support. He paid all of his money in his new wife's name. And they couldn't get, and my mother was just trying to survive. And they went to her school, where she went to school, her graduate school. And my stepmother pretended to be her and gave her a social security number, and she lost her student loans. So we went from being middle class to being broke. And I never knew we were broke until afterwards. My mother did a lot to protect us.
And you had what, one sister?
One sister and a half sister and a half brother from his previous marriage.
See why straight people suck? Because you can just have a kid with this dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, if you're gay, you have to think about that shit, spend money. They're going to take time. You're going to go through emotional shit. Mm-hmm. It's possible by the time you have a baby, you broke up and fuck off. This could just happen accidentally. Just keep breeding, breeders. I'm one of you now, but
I mean, yeah. But
Could somebody date you and have problems? Like, like, could I complain scaffolding is hitting my wall?
Wait, what do you mean by
Or
that?
are you like, who gives a shit? I had rats.
Honestly, maybe I put the bar so low, and that's the problem. Because I'm like, oh, you didn't put a rat in my bed, baby. I love you. Yay, you put a penis inside of me, and it felt good. That's all that matters. This is kind of true. Anywho.
There's also a thing that your mother had to do, which is
Yeah.
ride the line of telling you the truth
Yeah.
and protecting you from what your parents are, like what your parent is.
And protecting me from the fact that she's like, we had no money for a while. Like, why did we go to the movies every weekend and see the same movie? I was like, because I loved Space Camp. Like, what? You know, things like that. She's like, yeah, no, she really did protect us a lot. But at the same time, I knew something was wrong.
All movies were to get you out of the house?
Yeah. Just do anything on the weekend that didn't cost a lot of money.
Right.
You know?
By the
because-
way, movies back then were $3, and we're not kidding.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like if you went till a 1 p.m.
You
showtime.
could stay all day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's another thing. You could just
Yeah.
stay all day and bounce from. That's like a thing we used to do is just see 2-3 movies a day.
I saw Dirty Dancing at age 10, and I whispered to her, like, Mom, what does knocked up mean? What's an abortion? And she's like, shut the fuck up.
Right. It's a dance move. Shut up.
It's the lift. It's the 86.
You're spreading your legs dancing. Mom, I'm getting an abortion.
Oh my God. Anyway, I have been in therapy my whole life. I do talk about this a lot.
And your mom doesn't mind you talk about it, right?
She's not happy with it, but she knows that I'm
You give her a script and she goes, yes, this is correct to say.
I did give her the script of the show to let her know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, good. I mean, that should be the only
Yeah.
answer. But good, she doesn't try to stop you.
She doesn't.
Both of my parents would.
Really?
No question.
Well, your
But
mother.
Half my siblings would.
They don't listen to your show, though. And that's on them.
But they know not to, right?
But your mother is still in the story that this is a great marriage and that you guys had a great childhood.
And she could have done better if there were struggles, but
Wait, they know not to listen to your
Yes.
show? Wait, you told them not to?
no, they know for their own sanity they should not.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
My mother says she doesn't listen to my podcast, but then she'll drop a piece of information that I
Yeah.
only said on the podcast.
They can't help themselves sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't listen, but I don't like the way you use the word God's name.
Yeah.
And it's
And
like,
I-
oh, okay. Psychic.
And I don't mind. I mean, I'm an open book.
Right. But a real one, right. But
But-
your own. That's the difference.
That's true, right? But what's funny is if they listen to the show and you go, and my goddamn father, it's like, don't talk about God that way. Aren't you concerned that I'm saying my goddamn father?
right.
Can you imagine?
that way.
You know what I mean?
Also, what's wild to me is she was 5 years younger than I am now when she was going through this, and she had 2 kids. And I can't imagine myself holding my shit together enough. But I mean, I don't know,
I also don't think that they understood that this is a level of expression that could or should be happening. I don't think this is like possible in their world.
Fair.
Yeah. So this is all new. Like, does your mother? Our parents don't tell us what diseases they've had because that's none of anyone's business, including our doctors. Do they pull that shit?
No, my mother's very honest.
Okay, so now your mother can speak like the
We
truth
talk
is happening.
about everything now. Yeah, she
Oh,
tells
my mom wouldn't. My mom would just start crying and then blame, they did their best or she did her best. And that'd be the end of the conversation.
she feels like it's all her fault. And I
Yes.
keep having to tell her that it's not because it wasn't. She did her best, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we talk about it openly, and she's apologized for things. And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't. We're getting through it. At least you're telling me about it now. I'm learning things now that I. Still,
And maybe I don't want an apology. Maybe I just want to bitch about that for a second.
Kinda,
And
yeah.
I understand,
We got
you're-
together 2
You're a
weeks-
couple, and I'm not confused where that line is. But at the same time, don't just throw out a dismissive apology.
We got together after we recorded our episode together of Tell the Bartender and had a couple martinis, and I was
Yeah?
telling her about your story. And she's like, "That's wild, and your father's an asshole too." And we were just laughing. So now we're at the point where we can kind of laugh about it and talk about it intimately, and I can ask her any question, and she's very honest.
I
So.
think if your mother understood how much a relief that is, just that, like, because
Yeah.
we can't change the past, but just her speaking like it's the truth. Like, I know I've had a phone call. This was years and years ago. My mom called, and I hear something in her voice, and I'm like, oh, what's up? And I'm in a car. We were in Texas, you and me. You were in the car, Keith. We were in the car with the director and the girlfriend of the director of the movie.
She's
She's crushed. Yeah. And I get a call from my mom, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll pick it up because I probably haven't picked it up in a week or whatever. And I'm like, what's going on? She's like, you know what? Your dad hasn't spoken to me for a month. And I'm like, you know, that's really rude and wrong for him to do.
But they were married?
Yeah. Oh, they're always married. So
Yeah, they're still married. My parents are married. Yeah, that doesn't matter.
yeah, it's not even like a question. They're not ever gonna not be married. Yeah, he could do whatever he wants. He can hit her. I know it. He can hit her.
And he wouldn't talk to her for a month?
They weren't talking. I assume they're not having sex, but I don't know. They could be having sex while he's not talking to her.
You ever see that movie Sixth Sense? How long does that take place? You know, they weren't talking. He didn't know it.
She blindsided him.
He thought he was late for dinner once.
That's so true.
You're so mad you won't let me pay the check.
That's so funny. That's just, we forgot the side note of the Sixth Sense is that guys just think they're in a relationship when they haven't said anything for months.
I'll fix this soon.
You remember we talked on a few episodes ago with Ophira. This guy was like, "Oh, I just got blindsided. My wife asked me for a divorce," and Keith and I were like, "You weren't blindsided. Whatever it is, even if you guys seem to be all right, you weren't blindsided. Right. Not fully, not 100%." Anyway, so my mom's like, your dad hasn't spoken to me for a month. I'm like, oh my God, that's terrible. What a jerk. I probably said something like that. What a jerk. I don't think I said any words like asshole or something like that. And she goes, stop it. Don't talk about your dad like that. And she turned on me and acted like I was just this, you know, arrogant and, you know, talk backy, you know, child who's not grateful for the things that my father did. And, you know, she was going to launch into everything good that he did. And I'm like, oh, you know what, Mom?
Yeah,
I'm
you were
sorry.
supposed to just be a journal, not a person.
Yeah. I was never supposed to be a jerk. I remember, okay, here's another one. I was at Trader Joe's. She's calling me. I'm doing my shopping. And at this time, I remember, like, I had the other place that we had our studio in. The maintenance company was treating me like shit. I had a lot of heavy shit coming down on me, especially that week. Normal shit that, you know, adults take care of, but it happens to be more of a weighted thing. And my mom's like, oh, you sound like something. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to take, and I didn't say this out loud. I'm going to fucking take this leap because I would love to tell somebody, you know, maybe like somebody's asking, I would love to unload a little bit. So I go, you know, I'm having a hard time with this house and the people that are running the maintenance company. They're really not paying attention to me. And then I think I might have said one other thing, but I'm not sure. And she's like, oh, she started getting distraught. She got off the phone like pretty abruptly. She called me back and she goes like immediately and she goes, Hamdi, you got to tell me something different. You got to tell me that things are okay because I'm not going to be able to sleep. And I swear to God, I didn't even need a beat. I already knew this fucking story. I knew I shouldn't have said anything and that I'm not a person to her. So I go, Mom, you know, these are just regular things that I said. I'm not really that upset. You know how things are. Like, this thing's going to happen, but tomorrow it's going to be different. And I know that. And, like, really, what is going to happen?
You're your own mom.
This is going to sound like a weird question, but here we are. Does she have friends to like talk to or...
So I think all these people have friends, but she'll say things to me like, I didn't ask a family member, somebody that she talks to. I didn't ask her about her kids because I don't want them to ask me about you. And I was like, oh, that's personal. I have 2 siblings, but you don't want her to ask about me. So she hides from even her closest friends, and her sister's probably like the closest, so she might delve into it. But it's kind of like if she tells me that my dad hasn't spoken to her for a month and I react, then she's not telling anybody that, you know, because they have to keep up this facade of everything's okay. So if she tells the truth to anybody, you know, people don't tell the truth, not even to their closest friends, because you're afraid of what will happen. Even if it's stuff that you're not doing, your husband is not talking to you. So why are you ashamed? You know, because we put shame on that. Maybe your husband, and I don't know if he did or didn't, cheated on you. Why are you ashamed about that? And so it's kind of gross, you know. Meanwhile, if you're talking every day to your friends or your sister or whatever, what are you talking about if you're talking about nothing? And the answer is always gossip. It's always other people and what the neighbor did, and can you believe this one, and can you believe that one? Because you're out of info. If you're not speaking intimately, if you're not speaking about the real shit happening in your life, that you're actually pissed off at your daughter for whatever fucking reason, you'd rather like avoid that, then you're just talking about other people and their non-existent problems.
But it's interesting. There's the three of us with all our childhood problems and how it helps each other. And that's the way God works. It really is mysterious, isn't it? Thank God for CBD. He gave it to us, and I'm about to talk about it right now. The entire CBD industry is talking about an innovative patented hemp oil-infused chewing gum. A chewing gum that tastes good, so you chew it longer, and you get swervy, right? Are you allowed to say that?
No, because CBD is actually like, so THC in marijuana is the thing that makes you loopy, the things that make your head change. But CBD is extracted from marijuana, and this is the thing that does not affect your brain. It doesn't go to your head. It doesn't switch your mind about anything. It doesn't make you loopy or anything like that. What it does is it connects with your body. It just gives your body a way to calm down and a way to like just...
And pain relief.
Yeah, and pain relief. It's huge pain relief without having that high.
Who sleeps like an angel? This guy. The company I'm talking about is called Euphoric. YOOFORIC. Euphoric brings innovation to the CBD market in that its patented delivery system is time released and all the action happens in the mouth. The gum's flavor and consistency makes it possible to chew it longer, and chewing hemp oil infused gum longer increases the absorption in the mouth. A lot of science. All I know is I sleep well.
People also use CBD, Andrea's writing in, for anxiety and also for PTSD. So for marijuana, there's so much good in it, but I understand that people don't want to use it because you can't be high during the day necessarily, or you don't know how to manage what it does to your brain. You don't want to be like, quote, drunk or whatever.
Right.
But CBD is all that good stuff from marijuana without making you high.
Yeah, they said they don't, not only do they not say don't drive on it, they say please drive extra. Yeah, no high, like I'm just saying. Gluten-free if you're curious, sugar-free, non-GMO, rich in omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. Little bonuses here and there,
Is
right?
it vegan, though?
It's got all this stuff. Discreet, convenient, can be used anywhere. You only need to try Euphoric once to see what the fuss is about. And I'm sorry for being so fussy, but I need you to know about it. To prove it, a limited supply of free trials have just been released nationwide. Join this website. Ready? Visit it anyway. yournewgum.com. yournewgum.com. Claim your free trial today while supplies last. Again, the website is yournewgum.com. yournewgum.com. You're welcome. You know, if I had that gum when that banging was going on outside, it wouldn't have been a thing.
I use CBD stuff on my herniated disc when it acts up, and it works really well.
Yeah, that stuff is really nice.
There's a lot of things you can do with CBD.
Yeah. My dad thinks he has herniated discs, by the way. Yeah, he saw they talked about it on the news. Now he has 7 herniated discs. I don't know how many a person has in the first place. But.
By the way, since we're coming back to dads for just a second, Andrea wants to throw her dad in the ring because, because he can compete any day.
Great.
My dad tried to get my mom to sign a piece of paper that said she had a corporation where he would give her money in the divorce. What he was actually doing was trying to put toxic assets in that corporation and bankrupt her after being married 25 years, and she saved his life. He had so many medical problems. Like he had, I don't think he has his own liver. Like he has a lot of transplants, like heart, kidney. Like he should have died, I think, at least 10 times, like a serious death. The doctor would tell him he only has such and such amount to live. Her mother would take care of him and push him through that, and the whole family would take care of him. There was a lot of like illness during their teenage years. And then he got through all of that and was like, see ya, I've been dating this woman for 10 years. And he didn't even tell her that. She figured it out, right? She hired someone like a genius and found all this shit out. Please.
When you have the extra last $5 you have, and you got to hire a lawyer to see who's who's putting you in a bad situation.
Well, he had a heart transplant?
Oh, yeah. He has a heart transplant and a kidney transplant.
Then why isn't he better? He got a new heart.
I know. He got like someone shitty's heart, and like that's when he turned.
Oh.
Did you for a second think that, though? I would.
Well, some of my mom's friends who are doctors have said like, because he was like a vegetable for a long period of time. Like when there are so many surgeries, but the big surgery where he was born with a very like a heart disease that most children die when they're like they live for a period of time. You're missing like a valve that's pretty important. So he lived with it, and he used to have like experimental procedures. And then he got to a certain age, and his heart doctors were just like, you're going to die. Like, I don't know what to tell you unless you get another procedure, which they can only do in Chicago.
And do you remember him being a good person before that?
I don't really. He wasn't around a lot.
Okay.
I see videos of us when I was a little kid, and he was very attached to me. Like, I was like his little girl type thing. And I think it's probably easier for him to feel close to me when I'm like a little baby, because it's not like a woman. It's not like an adult woman or a teenager.
Well, you don't have anything
opinions
to say.
or screaming fits about how much of a douche he is. So he wasn't around a whole lot and sick often. And then I remember there was this little surgery that he was going to get in Chicago because the Canadian government, great healthcare. If there's a surgery that you can't have in the United States, the Canadian government will pay to send you to whatever country that you need to go to.
You mean
to have
if you
that
can't
surgery.
have it in Canada, they'll send you.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. So, like, if there's no doctors in Canada that can perform this procedure, but American doctors or French or whatever, they'll pay to send you to the place that can do it for you.
Well, maple syrup doesn't solve anything. That's duct tape to them, by the way.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny is, if he would have got a Canadian heart, he might have been nice.
He has an American heart. They almost didn't give it to him at like in the final hour when they weren't sure if he was going to get it or not. They legitimately were like, we don't want you to try to pretend to be a citizen because you have an American heart.
Whoa.
And my mom was like, fuck you, suck my dick, give it to me. And the doctor's like, okay, well, Mrs. Allan is very persuasive and we're going to go ahead. But he didn't get a heart transplant. He did an experimental procedure in Chicago. He was recovering. I didn't live at home during that time. I lived with my friend. And then I got a call one morning. They woke me up super early and they said, you have to go to Chicago. Your parents miss you.
Oh, gross.
And I was like, that sounds like a lie.
Right.
Have you met my dad? He's never here. How can he miss me? He doesn't know me. So then eventually my friend's parent was like getting me ready to go. And I was like, they don't miss me, do they? And he was like, no, it's not looking good. And so me and my older brother flew together from Vancouver to Chicago like super early in the morning. Got there. They had a party limo waiting for us.
What?
Because they couldn't find like an appropriate limo in the short period of time.
A disco ball's moving, but no sound or lights.
I am not even kidding. There was a disco ball. There was so much booze in there. It was the funniest thing ever. It was like, your dad's gonna die, but enjoy the
Dad's gonna die.
How old were you?
9 or 10, something like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's hard. I don't have like great memory, like understanding of ages when this stuff happened because I don't have great memories of it.
Also, when you see a disco ball, do you like have a seizure?
There's so many things.
No, but when you're a kid and there's a pole, you just dance on it.
Yeah. It was honestly fun. I was like it was obviously very scary, but I was too young to understand the magnitude of the situation. Like I did and I didn't. You know, your kid brain can't like be like, oh, my parent's going to die. That's not like a thought that you can fully grasp. So we got there and he had gotten a blood disease from the hospital after the procedure, and he was like a vegetable. So he was when people are in hospital beds for a long time, they puff up huge. So he had all these like compressors on him to stop him from getting infections, like bed wounds. And he was like on all these machines and stuff like that. It was terrifying to see.
It's so weird. I had the compressions on my legs when I had the open heart surgery.
Like the sleeves.
Yeah, and they just, you just feel your legs like squishing every once in a while, and they're like, we're gonna leave that on because we don't want you to die of like a blood whatever. And I'm like, you can just,
Right.
You don't have to tell
Leave
me.
it on.
you can, I'm not gonna take it off.
Yeah.
So you don't have to tell me what I'm gonna die of.
Yeah, there's so many things that can kill you in the hospital.
Yeah.
So he was basically like a vegetable, and they were like, you can either give him a heart transplant or you can like pull the plug. And so my mom is there.
Why are you in on this?
I don't fucking know. I was just around. They were, I could understand that there was like serious adult decisions being made. My dad's brother was there, his sister, everyone.
Oh, that's why your mom didn't pull the plugs. No, I guess we'll just keep him around.
Well, yeah, I mean, she really was so resilient. Like that's part of a huge amount of why I have such respect for him and disdain for him. Respect for her, disdain for him, because it's like you seriously wouldn't be around if this woman. You know how it's like the wife deserves half. I'm like, the wife deserves 3/4. She's responsible for you being alive. And so they said we can put him on a short list for a heart transplant because heart transplants are based off of need, not based off of time waiting on the list. It's both. But if you are on your deathbed, then they'll bump you up to the top of the list. Some guy in Chicago has a brain aneurysm on a motorcycle. He dies and he gets...
Thank God.
Yeah.
He provides.
Yes. He
God has a
dies.
reason.
And they harvest that heart, and he got a heart transplant within like, I want to say 3 to 4 hours, something insane. Like it was just insane. And so then he got a heart transplant, and they like woke him up, and my mom was like, "You have a new heart," and he was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And so then, but from that period on, he was still sick for like, I want to say maybe 5 years, because when he was such a vegetable, he lost the ability to swallow properly, to move his arms and legs, to talk. He was emaciated, like very, very skinny. I would say like 100 pounds maybe.
Was he dating that woman at that time?
No, he's not doing anything.
Okay.
He can't walk.
Who knows with these fucking guys?
I don't know, yeah.
Who knows?
If Stephen Hawking can cheat on his wife.
Seriously.
She was probably...
Did he really get a heart transplant?
Who knows?
Yeah, those hospital hours, they don't take those seriously.
Yeah, the nurses are like jacking him off with my picture of me taped to his heart monitor. It's just so fucked up.
Can you roll me down the street? Why, honey? Please just do it.
So then he recovered he had pancreatitis in the hospital. There were many, many chapters of this recovery. He was in a hospital. He used to sit, like, when he finally got home, he couldn't eat properly without throwing up. So we'd have our weird, like, family dinners, and he had a bucket next to the table, and he would eat, but he, like, wanted to keep it. I have empathy for him because I can't imagine a human being going through the amount of like pain, and
he enjoyed things to seem classier than they were, right? You couldn't gossip at the dinner table.
No improper conversations about pop music or like
when you watch
computers.
When you watched American Beauty, were you like Canadian Beauty? Canadian Beauty.
American Beauty hit me in a weird way many times over. So he would eat and then get sick, but he would throw up in a bucket, and then I would like go take the bucket and clean it, or my mom would clean it.
He puts the throw up in the basket.
Yes. Bonkers shit. I remember
You know what I'm surprised he didn't do? Give you all buckets. You have to pretend to throw up.
Right, like in support.
Right.
I mean, Andrea, I'm feeling better about my life right now.
I was hanging out with this young open micer.
This is a game show. And you're hearing about people's dads. And you can take the money and run, or a worse dad is coming up. Well, it can't be worse than this.
Wait, Andrea. Now, Katharine, you try to one-up her.
I had to eat the bucket.
To prove my dedication.
I got no words right now. I was just fascinated by that. I mean, the rat story and all that. That's all I got.
At that time,
Which one trumps it? The rat story or this throw-up story?
Well, hearing that after, like because we know what happens after, at least, minimum, we don't feel bad. And you're supposed to feel bad for him during this story, and you don't.
But I think the rat one's worse, and I'll tell you why. Yours is very bad, Andrea.
Wow.
But the rat one is worse because the intention is so fucking fucked up.
Of course, but then he later on did rat level shit to my mom and he also was abusive to my brother before. Like when we were young, he was malicious. Like one time I was in the hospital and he was playing a golf game and they thought I had like appendicitis, and I remember my mom calling him being like, "Can you come?" And he was like, "I'm doing the golf game. Like I can't. I'm on the. Is she gonna be fine?" And then my mom had to like come back and tell me that he wasn't gonna come because he was golfing. So it's like he was this character before he got really sick and was sick for a long time, And then there was kind of this admiration for him because he's a miracle man. He also, his kidneys never came back. His sister gave him a kidney transplant. He survived that. Pancreatitis again. He's had skin cancer. Like he's.
Do you notice, and Keith, with your dad also, and I don't know about you, Katharine, but like these men will outlive you.
Oh, it's crazy. His heart is made of wood. Like he's
Yeah.
never gonna die.
I
Well,
know.
the evil keeps it pumping.
Yeah,
I actually feel that way.
my stepmother's had brain cancer twice, and she's not dead. And I've had friends who passed like early in life, and it's like, why them
Right.
but not them? And I don't wish death upon people, but
Only the good die young.
It is interesting, like when I had my tumor, Trump was elected, and I'm like, I'm sitting here with a tumor, and they just released like that his health is fine, and I'm like, how?
Yeah.
He's 70 years old.
He's like obese and
Nah.
eats McDonald's all the time. Yeah.
He's in the White House eating McDonald's, but I have a tumor.
he has Adderall all day long.
It's cosmically funny. That's all you can chalk it up to.
Here's
so
a
weird.
fun quick break. This just happened with Donald Trump, and he was yelling at a fat protester at one of his rallies.
That guy's got a serious weight problem. Go home, start exercising. Get him out of here, please.
Fat disgusts him. This,
Everything he says is projecting on him about everything. That person's a liar. This is fake. This person's this looking. This person's gross. He's literally just talking about himself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is it's great, but it's like
No, it's not great.
no, it's amazing.
Make
It's
America
amazing.
great again.
But it's amazing because we're looking at it like, did he just? Everyone saw that, right? And everyone else is like, yeah, this is great. You're fat, and it's like his audience cannot be.
yeah. Oh, some of those woos you heard. Like they couldn't
Also, he has a theory about exercise. Trump believes this. I read this somewhere that was legitimate. He doesn't believe in exercise because he thinks that you have a certain amount of exertion in your life, and if you overdo it, you'll die early.
Oh, science. Yeah, there are no rules anymore.
There really aren't.
No.
You could, why aren't we saying anything?
I don't think there ever were, to be honest.
It's shame on us.
Because I've played by the rules and
No, big mistake.
I cleaned up my own father's vomit.
There we
and,
are.
You know, thought it was chill.
No more Mr. Nice Gals.
I mean, yeah, and then to find out after this whole thing, and I think my parents' marriage was bad. I don't think that they should have stayed together, but for them to get the divorce and then to find out in retrospect all the shady shit he was doing with this one woman, other women, hiding things, trying to fuck around with finances, it's like the balls to be so disrespectful after all of that.
What do you do for a living? Financier?
Yeah, he started his own company.
You don't know what that is, do you?
I have no idea. I mean, he's I separate him into two categories. Like the one category, I can admire him for he got a full ride scholarship to Cal Berkeley when he's young. He's a very smart person. I look at all the health problems and I'm like, I admire you for also building your own company at the same time. Like he couldn't have done this without the support of my mom, but I have to be like, that's something that is admirable. And then there's this whole other script that's like this just like loveless narcissistic monster and I don't know. Yeah,
I think that's what's difficult about abuse is that it's never just a loveless monster. It always comes with charisma of some sort.
Is
Even
it
though
interesting they
Not
all-
you, your dad, Keith.
yeah.
But they've all had.
My dad at least is rich. I'm so sorry.
They've all had titles. My dad had the priest title.
Yeah.
Andrea, a financier.
Yeah.
Katharine, a doctor. Yours, a self-made businessman. Owned business from nothing coming to America.
Yeah.
I just had a memory. You know, things come back at you and you're like, oh, yeah, that happened. My father wrote diet books that became very famous, and he was on talk shows all the time. And this is right after the divorce, and he had a buttload of money that we'll never see. And I talked about
Is
this.
he the Scarsdale diet guy?
He's the carbohydrate addicts diet.
Oh, wow.
So I'm in college and still, dealing with all these things. But like finally, I'm out of the home. I'm away from my memories, and I started smoking a lot of pot freshman year.
Smart.
And I'm in my dorm room with my friends, and we're watching TV, and it's a Montel Williams show, and I'm high as a kite. And they're like, and now doctors Richard and Rachel Heller, and I see my dad fucking walk out on the TV, and I was like, oh my God, that's my dad. And everyone in the room.
And your stepmom.
Yeah, starts laughing because the last name is the same, and they're all blitzed, and they're like, "That's a good one, Katharine. She's a comedian." I was like, and I just started sobbing
Yeah.
Aw.
because it was really him, it was such a weird, like, am I that stoned or is this happening?
Yeah.
It's
It's crazy making.
That's
it's
the
a
thing.
weird feeling.
They all get these accolades from other people.
Yes.
Again, not your
Yeah.
dad, Keith, because he isolates himself because he knows. But this is what's weird about your dad is he's like, this is why your dad isolates himself because he can only be on top of that mountain if he's just alone on the mountain.
The mountain of
Right.
lies, yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't really have charisma and charm.
But seeing people like applaud for him and people like buying his book and standing up and crying, saying,
Yeah,
"You
that's the
changed
thing.
my life," it's like, I wish I could just.
That's the thing. My parents were moving back to Israel. This was like something like 10 years ago. They're packing up, and I'm like, I don't even know how to feel about it. All I feel is like, now I got to take 12-hour fucking plane rides to visit you so you can watch TV while I'm there. Fuck me. And so I'm like sitting around like a nice daughter. My dad's there. I guess he's packing. I don't know. They don't let me in on it. Just sit here and watch us, and that means you love us. Okay, great. So I'm sitting there. There's this dude, Hebrew speaking, whatever foreign place he's from. It's never just Israel. It's whatever. He's got 5 kids. He's like 28 years old. You know, he's a golden boy and blah, blah, blah. He turns to me when my dad's not there for a second, and he goes, your dad's so great. And I'm like, here we go. Here we go. You and your shit life, I can tell on your face that you hate your wife, you know, and that you decided to go this route because of great men like my father.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and he's like, your father, man, he's just like a father to me. I'm like, I just met you.
Right.
So I guess if we're siblings, I'm missing something.
Yeah.
And also, he's not like a father to me, so I don't know how to relate to you.
Yeah.
Why don't I just leave? And I just I had to leave shortly because I'm like, I guess your son is here. The guy I never met before. He's like, your dad taught me everything. He took me under his wing. I'm like, my dad hates me. He hates everything I do. I can't even believe I'm sitting here that he even wants to look at me before he leaves this country.
Yeah, I used to show up super slutty to my dad's offices, especially when I was like a drunk mess. I was talking about like the forms of revenge I would take on him when I was like in my early 20s, and in no way were they mature, but they were also hilarious.
I give you credit. I couldn't do it.
I always stood up to him, and that was like a weird dynamic in my family, is that he was so horrible to my brother, and I have some relief now. My brother deals with him in the way that he does, but I've and I'm not saying that my brother didn't fight back all the time, but I just was so annoyed all the time at like the obvious insanity that was always happening, and I would mouth off to him a lot. We used to go on trips together, and it would always end in a screaming match, and I was a child, so like I wasn't being the most mature. I was also kind of a brat too, but
I couldn't
throwing
scream.
things.
It was like your family, Keith. You're not gonna scream.
Right.
No, there's no parents that you can scream at. I think I screamed at them twice, and it was like,
I didn't know you can fight your parents.
yeah.
Oh, well,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a little.
When did that become a law?
Yeah,
I'm a
you
little
should've-
white girl. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, I didn't know that was possible,
Yeah.
so I never did it. But what did work, I found out because
I called my dad yesterday. I said, I'm ready now.
Do you want to channel my inner little white girl? Because it's powerful. I remember I used to go when I found out they were getting divorced, and my mom opened up about some of the stuff, and I've learned many horrible things since then. Like every time I learn a new piece of information, I'm like, oh God, no, come on. But I used to take his credit card and go out to bars and just buy everyone rounds of drinks
for you.
all the time.
I wish I did that.
I think I jacked it up to like $5,000 over a summer because I was just like, what are you going to do? Parent me?
yeah.
LOL.
I look back and I wish I did shit like that. I wish I robbed
Because
you.
why?
Yeah.
Because why?
I wish I took advantage of the things that you said that you would do for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't, anything, but it just wasn't, I couldn't. The most I could do was stop reacting to them, and that's when they hated it.
Yeah.
They would just be jumping out of their skin, and you know what the worst thing I did was? Nothing. I was fine. Like, honestly.
Well, be yourself.
Yeah.
Really. Come on. That's the crime
and so
here.
they would go nuts, and I'm like, well, I have nothing to say anymore. I tried debating this. I'm good at talking to you. I'm reasoning things out. Nothing. So I would just be like,
Wait, do they know about your divorce?
who knows?
Oh, okay.
Maybe, probably.
I'm not saying parenting's not hard, but there's parents that do like parenting to be hard.
Yes.
They want to make sure it's understood that they're a martyr.
And you know who those guys are like? You ever notice this? The person in your company or the person that you work with who's like, oh man, I got all this shit to do,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. they're doing the least because they're saying all that stuff because it's like, oh, someone's going to find out. I better look like I'm
They're making lists. They're
Yes.
sending unnecessary emails
Yes.
about fucking nothing.
because they're actually not doing their job. So everyone who's huffing and puffing, I'm like, I don't know why you have time to huff and puff or not be grateful for just the job that you have. Shouldn't you be busy checking off that list?
Yeah.
And I noticed that, like, especially hiring people in this position now I can see, I'm like, oh, if you are like, oh, I can't believe I'm doing this. I caught myself doing a little piece of it a few years back. I was like, oh man, this is a big deal. I'm like, oh, I'm making this a big deal because I don't want to do it. And so complaining about it is like helping me not do it.
It's also so often you make up big projects and things when you don't actually have much going on, you know? Like I have this huge thing and it's like, but it's not like, it's not for anything. It's not, I'm not saying that creating your own projects isn't valid. I do that all the time, but it's like nothing's happening.
I started to tell the bartender because I worked at a hedge fund and I was really bored with my life and I was in a show at the time and I wanted to do something creative.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I got to do all this. And it's like, no, I get to do all this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you still talk to your dad?
No.
Okay. Do you, Andrea? You do sometimes.
We email from time to time. Like when I got the Forbes feature, I sent it to him because he's like a business person. I'm like, you're gonna enjoy this, and
That's
this is
Playboy to him, right?
Yeah. He was very. I mean, he also probably looks a Playboy, but there was a phone call a few years back because there was some drama that unfolded in my family, and it was my final I broke my brain trying to deal with stupid bullshit. Like I was talking to him on the phone and I'm like, I don't even know how to address half the things you're saying right now. A lot of like, don't you want to be happy? Me to be happy? And I'm like, I'm 29 now. I can't do this anymore. So after that,
It's old.
yeah, well, but like, you know,
Who cares if Andrea wants you to be happy? You're her dad.
Yeah.
Who cares? Stop asking her that.
Right.
Nobody
Yeah.
cares that your daughter wants you to be happy. No, I want you to be miserable.
No.
That makes my life better than this. This way we can have these
yeah,
conversations.
I'm the problem here. It's me who's been the problem this whole time. And so I just got like so tired of it. And so I started going to therapy and I told him like I need space. And then the more space I got from him, I was like, oh my God, why have I been having a relationship with you? You make me so upset all the time. I try and you never come through for me. You never make me feel loved.
You make me feel like a child.
Yeah, you have supported me financially in the past, which I have thought was a good thing, but in retrospect, it kept me infantile and dependent on you, and it allowed you to control me. Like financial abuse is a big thing he likes to do. He super loves the power of money. It's like his number one thing.
When I was in my early 20s, my dad, like the insurance for my car got sent to his place. I must have like just moved out or something. So they just started to pay for the insurance on my car. And one day he got like super mad at me for something dopey because I'm an adult. So what can you be mad at me about? Like he called me at work, which I went to. So again, what are you mad at me about? And he's like, oh, from now on, we're not paying your insurance. And I go, oh, thank you for paying it this far. Like, I don't expect you to, and I appreciate it. And he got so, you could hear him getting
Well,
mad.
yeah, because he wanted you to get back,
and
bite
he's
back
like,
at him.
Okay, then. That's all. And I'm like, okay, thanks. I'll talk to you later. And he's just livid. And I'm like, oh, that was the best conversation I ever had with you, you fuckface.
Yeah.
Keith, have you considered not talking to your dad?
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing it through my ex-wife, right? None of our conversations are real, you know? I mean, if you want to get nitpicky, then I guess I'm talking, but I think it would hold up in a court of law that we're not talking.
Well, may I say,
Oh, sorry.
None of these emails, even from me, are real.
Right.
The last email was uneven oxen, send, because I knew that'd get them riled up.
I'll say the longer I stepped away from him, the more clear it became to me how toxic even just having a phone call with him regularly became. I was like, I would walk around elated, like euphoric. Like I can't believe I feel this free.
I forget that I have parents, and I'm like, oh, that's bad. No, well, no, that's good.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Well, the guilt comes in every once in a while, and that's why I'll email him things, to try to keep. But I'll email him, and then he'll be like, let me fly to New York and take you to dinner. And I'm like, no, we're not easing back in. I told a bunch of my friends who've known me for my whole life that I wasn't communicating with him. And my closest friends were like, I'm shocked you went this long with it. And I was like, okay, thank you. And my mom was like, you don't have to really have a relationship with him. And I was just like,
You know,
thank God.
it's been 15, 16. I can't even count any more years since we last spoke, my dad and I.
Wow.
And I agree with you. I think it's really important to set boundaries and
Yeah.
take space, because then you remove yourself from it and look back on it.
You move out of the abusive relationship.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it will never, that feeling of guilt or I hope he loves me again will never go away.
Yeah,
like,
no,
it's
I know.
always going to be there, but at least you can live with it knowing that you're doing the best thing for you. So
Yeah.
Why, Keith, do
I
you
don't
not have that?
I don't have it.
Yeah.
Don't feel guilty for a second.
Well, then why are you still doing this?
It's funny. It's funny.
Do you not feel like it's still like participating in a toxic kind of dance that you two have been doing? It's been this like you be like mocking what he's like and him coming back at you and like
But he has more control over it.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's 100% on your terms. He's not like hurting you, but it's what how does it end, I guess? You know?
well, she's
You just-
engaged now.
Right.
Yeah.
My ex is engaged, so we'll see. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't care. It'll end, and I won't care then either.
Yeah.
There's
That's
been
fair.
a time when this wasn't going on. I
I-
didn't care just the same.
I think I had to recognize, because I feel like I don't care either for the most part. I think there's 1% that's still in there, but I think I had to really, really understand my dad does not like me.
I just wish I was financially controlled a little bit. I got.
When you were saying that, I was like, I'll take the dinner.
You are the worst. You know, you're with rape survivors. I'm not saying we all don't have our thing.
No, but I guess what that kept me
understand.
around for way longer than I should have. And in retrospect, I'm like, nah, that was nice, but
Well, my dad, when it came to money, is all the things I missed out on.
Yeah.
He would have paid for Harvard. He would have. It's like, well, I do see your bank account by accident, and I was gonna give you a car at graduation. You couldn't have. So
But-
why this weird
Oh.
lie after the fact?
Wait, so he said, like, you're so bad, I was going to give you this, but now.
Yes.
Fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Wow, Keith.
And he did it to all my siblings, and the
Wow.
majority of them went to college. They paid for it themselves.
well, that's the thing. I used to think that I couldn't be an adult in the world because I would get help from my parents. I had this narrative that like I'm an idiot. Like he used to call me like a welfare spender and all this like really yeah, super
Oh my God.
appropriate shit. And
What the fuck?
yeah, but like it's you know, if you're not given agency, you're not going to learn to control your finances. Like that's the thing. I've been living as an artist with very little money in New York. Fine, I've been paying my rent and live. You know what I mean? I'm like, how much of this lie that I'm an idiot and you need to help me is true? Oh, all of it? Okay. I mean, I shouldn't have taken it, but it's like I thought that's just, oh, you're bad at this and let me help you. He used to send me like Rich Women Finish First and like all these like books about how to not be an idiot. And I'm like,
Is the answer marry rich?
I don't know. I didn't read it. I laughed at it and I threw it away. But it's like
There have been, Andrea has had
Well,
experience.
there's $100,000 inside.
Right.
sure. Sure.
Andrea has had experience with men sending her books.
Oh my God, everyone's sending me a fucking book, a weird book.
What's funny is it might actually be good books, but they always send it in the worst timing and it's just chucked away.
Yeah.
Like I know that I've
The Pillars of Self-Esteem
Yes.
could have helped, but not from Keith McNally.
After you used to harass me.
Yeah, after he harassed Keith and then also texted me he saw a woman who looked like me and wanted to put her skin, like my skin, some sort of skin text.
suit?
Yeah, and I was
people
just,
have weird responses to
I
you.
don't fucking know. It's.
Wow.
I like to. I used to think like, oh, you're stupid or you're not good enough, and you get these accolades because you're rich, which is partially true, of course. Privilege will get you places in life. There's no question about that. But then eventually, my mom was like, you know, if you didn't have money, you would find a way to do all this stuff on your own. And it's
I've
like,
watched both of you, Katharine and
Yeah.
Andrea. Like, I don't know anyone that could work harder. Like, I have to remind you that you need days off.
yeah.
Andrea texts me and she's like, I'm sick again and I'm at home. And I'm like, can you just fucking be sick?
I hate it.
Like, do you understand that now is the time to lay the fuck down?
In retrospect, it is a good way to create a successful child by breaking them in this particular manner.
Okay, all right.
I will say that.
No, you won't. You need more therapy.
Oh, no, yeah, my dad expects constant praise anytime. Oh, Podcasting Hall of Fame, Keith. You're welcome.
Yeah. But
but he will look you in the eye and go, I wonder how that happened. And you're supposed to be like, thank you, Father. And then he'll be like, no, that's not the tone that you're supposed to take, and make you say it again. Oh, Katharine, that rat in the bed was something. But Keith, your dad is next. I don't know.
Yeah.
Keith. Okay, so Andrea, Katharine's dad or Keith's dad is now your dad. Ah, the new poll.
One you can have ghosts have sex with.
Oh,
What?
One you could make up somebody and they have virtual sex with your father.
What?
Oh,
Catherine's dad, you couldn't talk anymore.
you know, I hate the country, the weird country stuff that happens at your household, the holes and the isolation and stuff like that.
Right.
That's true.
Like you at least got to be in New York. This is a location-based selection because they're both so horrific.
And by the way, keep in mind,
Like you couldn't escape. She
Yeah,
could
but-
go
but-
out in the city.
well,
Yes.
you can't escape because you would try to escape.
Because he is in.
But the fog is up to your knees and you keep falling in holes you had to dig as
Yeah.
fake punishment.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get anywhere. Broken ankles for years.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but yes, I will give Andrea the New York City thing.
Yeah.
That had to be a little bit of a relief. However, she had to be in some other home with not only her dad, but the new partner that seems to be like the perfect partner for such a fucking psycho. And together they're putting rats in your mother's thing. At least like Keith's dad couldn't mess too much with his mom because they were there to be like, nah, that's the line. And she like yelled back, and you got satisfaction out of your mother yelling back.
Anytime they were fighting, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't masturbate per se, but
I don't
got
know.
off.
I don't. Oh no, I just got sick because I almost said I'd rather Keith's dad.
I don't think this needs to be a competition. I think that we're all losers.
New rule.
And all winners at the same time,
Well, that's not fair because my dad was on the edge of a seat listening.
as was mine. He listens to all my shit.
Do you know, like they're really taking it, like as sick as this is and is angering them right now. If they heard this, they'd be like, "Okay, but did I win that?"
Yeah, absolutely. He's like, it was a smaller kite, and she remembers.
Okay, Hamda.
Yes,
My dad or Keith's dad.
Your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad can play sane in public more than your dad can. Like if you met him, you'd be like, what a successful man.
He also gave you more opportunities and held back more opportunities than Keith's dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I, for some reason, I know how to manage your dad more than Keith's dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My dad has more lucidity, although in recent years he's become much less.
Your dad
lucid.
also has accomplished anything. Keith's dad has never accomplished one thing in his life.
My dad made me dig holes. Your dad paid for too much shit. My dad never gave me respect. Your dad just called you on the phone.
Start a revolution.
All right, vomit in a bucket. Keep it together.
Thank you very much, Andrea.
You're very welcome.
Andrea's podcast, of course, is the Hot Mess Comedy Hour. You want to take a listen, that's for sure.
So good.
Katharine, how are you feeling? That's a lot.
Yeah, and that was amazing. I feel better about my life. I don't feel so alone, and thank you for sharing.
I gotta say, you're a pretty well-rounded human being. And I'm not going to give your dad any credit for that because you rose above some crazy fucking shit. You're amazing. Keith, you still have some shit to work on.
Well, I'll tell you what. If everybody in this world would just shut the fuck up when I'm trying to work. Speaking of other countries and Donald Trump, you may have read this. Donald Trump says he has interest in buying Greenland.
What?
First of all, just tell him it's a state, and that's the end of it. Okay? He'll say he knew the whole time. It was a joke. And life moves on, you know?
Great idea.
Tell you what, point to it on a map, you can have it. Denmark doesn't give a shit.
That's a great.
So Denmark, of course, owns Greenland, and their government put out a statement. This is true.
I haven't heard this yet.
Denmark would be interested in purchasing the United States in its entirety, with the exception of its government. Thank you.
Wow.
They're like, what? Trump's like, I'm thinking about buying Greenland. Greenland's like, what? Okay.
Why does he talk?
Right. And my dad was going to buy Disney World.
But if it wasn't for Reagan.
But right.
My dad lives in Disney World too. You remember that?
That's right. Oh, he loves it, right?
He wears matching Disney outfits every day with his wife. This is not a joke.
No.
Go on his website.
At least now he's visible about his crazy.
Right.
Like, I'd know to stay away from him if I saw that.
Go on to hellers.org. It'll blow your mind.
No.
Go on. Yeah.
No.
I don't go now that they
It's-
track everything.
Yeah. I don't care.
.org of all things.
Yes.
It's an organization for
Ew,
living.
ew, ew,
It's like just all the kid stuff.
no, just ew.
That's him in the matching.
Ew. It's like if a 5-year-old could build a website for themselves.
There you have it.
And he's kissing, I assume that's your stepmother.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I just threw up in a bucket.
Andrea, clean it
Andrea.
up.
I'm sorry. Oh.
On Monday, of course, we talked about the death of Jeffrey Epstein. The poll was, did Jeffrey Epstein commit suicide? And in parentheses, to be clear, I wrote, including without help. 80% say no, and I agree.
That he didn't commit suicide.
That he didn't commit suicide, at least without help, at least being forced, at least without being forced to, you know. I'm picturing like somebody could be there. Here's a fucking rope. Get it done.
I agree because he's not a person that would end his own life. He likes himself too much.
Supposedly he was going to meet he loves himself, and he was going to meet his lawyer later in the week and said, see you Friday.
He's a narcissist. He's gotten away with everything his entire life. He was probably thinking, I'll get a pardon, I'll get out, I'll get something, I'll get
And he's
bail.
right.
And he's right. I highly doubt that he died by suicide.
In his position, I would never commit suicide because I know I'm about to get off. I got off hundreds of times with crazy shit on the level that we know. On the level that we know. He's probably been threatened several times. He always gets off.
No cameras working on his... this guy could put away so many people.
Mm-hmm.
You just promised him a little time off. He wasn't even not even up for the death penalty.
He could have been talking with
Up for 45 years. So he could have got that narrowed down if he can, get enough people in trouble. They would have watched him. They would have watched him, no question. Cameras were off. Sorry, I'm all revved up. Cameras were off. His roommate was moved out. Guards didn't check on him for hours. And I see this stuff in the news where it's like and these guards, they were making him work their 5th overtime shift. Let me tell you something. How hard it is to check a cell. Who cares if you were on your 17th overtime shift? You check the cell when it's time to check the cell, and they didn't. They were literally sleeping for hours.
He's the most high-profile prisoner in the world right now, next to El Chapo. You put someone fucking on him.
That prison, by the way, had El Chapo.
Yep.
That's interesting. El Chapo, they kept an eye on. Not Jeffrey Epstein fucking all these kids.
He kept tapes and things on all of these people they found. So if he knew he had shit on people, he would have given up all of that to get a lower sentence.
His file of the kid fucking was just opened 2 days before this suicide. What timing? And there's this person on the internet, just a regular Joe. His name happens to be Jeffrey Epstein. So he has the Twitter account, Jeffrey Epstein. What do you do? What do you do? Like you go, hi, Keith McGraw, I'd like to work for you. Yeah, what's your name? Jeffrey Epstein. Seriously, though.
No, you change your name to Chemda.
Right?
That's the only time that's better.
It's been an amusing morning, the good Jeffrey says, having Jeffrey Epstein as my Twitter handle. Pretty surreal to have my name tagged next to words like death, suicide, rapist, pedophile, monster, etc. The other Jeffrey Epstein was a despicable human being. As far as I'm concerned, good riddance. Well, that's the thing. That's when it's so convoluted, isn't it? When we're not pleased that a kid rapist is killed.
Yeah.
We're like, wait a minute. It could be better.
I don't think he would have had to give anybody up. I think if you have that much money, other shit could happen and you can get out.
Yeah, this guy says, why should I be the one who changed my name, Jeffrey Epstein? He's the one who sucks.
Yeah.
Right? A little allude to Office Space. Why do I have to change it? Of course. And so now they're swarming. I don't know what took so long, but now they're investigating Jeffrey's private island, Jeffrey's private estates. And in one of these places, there's a picture, a painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress sitting in his chair in the Oval Office. Again, not a picture, to be clear, a painting. But is this a joke that Bill Clinton was in on? Like, this is what I could only guess. Ha, Monica Lewinsky had the blue dress, and I'm in a blue dress, and we're a bunch of fucking perverts?
Yeah.
What else could it be?
That's the only thing
he
that
just
came-
wanted to draw Clinton in a blue dress because the blue dress was a thing?
That's the only thing that came to mind. And I think, like, even though that seems sort of innocuous and like a ha-ha, it's such a tell.
And you were friends with Clinton. You were friends with Clinton. So you don't think he's going to be upset seeing a picture he didn't know about? It's a joke.
No, I don't think he would be upset because it's not a joke on the Clintons. It's or even just Bill Clinton. It's always a joke on Monica Lewinsky.
Always.
It's
Right.
always like, how did it affect Clinton's life? He's fine.
Right.
Monica Lewinsky, she had to fucking do a TED Talk 10, 20 years later about what she did with the president, and she blew him. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Your fucking presidency, your intern blew you, and you didn't even know how to manage that, you little bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. Stephen King, by the way, is on Twitter right now, and he's saying, hey, I don't want people to think I'm this guy, Steve King, a congressman in Iowa. He's the one who fairly recently he was saying, I don't understand why the term white supremacist is offensive. I don't get what's happening. I don't know. Google it before you talk into a microphone. Well, now he's on stage and he's saying, you know what? No, you should not get an abortion, even if it's because of reasons of rape. Because think how many people wouldn't be alive in society. Would we even have society if the people that had products of rape weren't here?
Whoa!
He said that
I
Iowa.
don't even know what he's saying.
That's your congressperson.
What if we went back through all the family trees and just pulled those people out that were products of rape and incest?
What if they pulled the people out of family trees who were products of rape and incest?
Would there be any population of the world left if we did
Would there
that?
be any world? Would there be any population?
Considering all the wars and all the rape and pillage that's taken place and whatever happened in culture after society, I know I
All
can't
the wars, all the rape, all the pillaging. I don't even know if I would still be here.
certify that they're not part of a product of that.
Shouldn't this be illuminating to him as he's saying it? Like,
Right.
oh, wait a minute.
Women are seen as such property. They just are, and women are just not seen as full human beings by so many people. That
How
he
would they
can't-
get pregnant if they weren't raped?
Exactly.
Right.
And the only job of them is to reproduce, right? So, that's the way he sees it. And
Josh-
that's the way a lot of he's saying the quiet part out loud that a lot of people think,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
You can't even ask questions?
Yeah.
Josh, who does the comic,
Snowflake.
right, Captain Mushface.
I love
He
him.
put us in one of his comics. He writes, Steve King's history book must be a hell of a read. Yeah, if we didn't have enough facts out there, you could just throw this out. I guess if you're a child and there was no history books.
But you are saying that in the history we are raping women all the time.
Right.
And then you're going, but they should totally keep it because how else are we going to populate the world?
Yeah.
And then you go have a sip of tea and enjoy your life.
And try to raise some more money, sure.
Yeah.
Good news is that there's now the Child Victims Act, at least here in New York State. And you could, the statute of limitations, it seems a little ridiculous in a lot of cases. Like, you have this, even if you have proof, you have DNA evidence of a rapist, but not too much time went by, you can't acknowledge it. Now you can. Now there's more time that you can acknowledge it.
For pedophilia or
Also
regular?
starting right now, you get 1 year to bring up anything that happened ever.
You get 1 year to bring
1 year to think, like, all right, think. Is there something you haven't been saying it for the longest time for whatever reason? Then we're going to start enacting this new law. But I'm giving you 12 months to you can go and bring up old cases. And hundreds of cases were filed immediately.
Well, okay, so it used to be, and I think this still is the case, but it used to be for pedophilia, your family would tell you it didn't happen. The person you confided in would tell you it didn't
Right.
happen. That's the adult in your life. So you can't file a case until you become an adult. Now we're
Right.
learning how to deal with it. So we're learning how to talk to kids about how, yes, it did happen, and here's what we're going to do.
The law opens up a so-called 1 year look-back window, allowing victims of any age to seek civil action against the abusers, regardless of how long ago the abuse happened. After that year, which applies only to civil actions, victims have until the age of 55 to file lawsuits against their abusers. So they were kids. This is if you were abused as a kid, you have until age 55 now.
Wow.
Let's see. It also has a criminal element. Victims now have until age 28 to press felony charges and age 25 for misdemeanors, a 5-year increase from the previous statute of limitations. All right, what's the difference then between the 55 years and the 28? After the year, which applies only to civil actions, victims have up until the age of 55 to file lawsuits against their abusers. Oh, I'm sorry. For criminal. See, this I never understood. The OJ thing is when I noticed this and was confused by it. You're not guilty criminal. You're guilty civil. You owe millions, but you didn't murder. What are we talking about? So anyway, if it's criminal, you have until 28 or 25, 25 for misdemeanors. If it's civil, where I guess you can affect the money, you have until 55.
Okay. Yeah, that is weird. I don't. That's
Right.
a huge difference.
Well, Missy Elliott just is about to win the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award, and I bring it up now because
Child molestation.
what an awkward title.
Yeah.
Change it. And then Missy Elliott tweets out, "Oh, I'm very proud to win the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award."
And she should be. What is she gonna do?
Sure, but you know what? I wouldn't even. Let's say I do accept it. I'm not tweeting out the words Michael Jackson. It's the Video
Yeah.
Vanguard Award.
Yes.
And quite frankly, if I was Missy Elliott, I'd say don't put that on the fucking board. We all remember what it was changed to. I don't want it. But okay. But don't acknowledge it yourself. It's Michael Jackson.
Remember when they
Fuck
did
you.
announce that, and Michael Jackson thought he won an award and just gave a thank you speech?
Oh, when-
that was hilarious.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Right? I wasn't making that up, right? Yeah.
The Video Vanguard Award, they've had that award since, let's see, 84. In 1991, it was renamed under Michael Jackson's name.
And it made no sense in 1991. He was in the middle of a controversy that we weren't really it was as if like, no, if we title this, everyone will just focus on this and not worry about all this other shit that's happening.
Missy Elliott's 48. Songs.
That's it?
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Songs include Lose Control.
Music makes me lose control. Music makes me lose control.
All right. Maybe there's a video element.
I think that's just the sample that she took to put on there.
Get Your Freak On.
Come get your freak on. Come get your freak on.
Work It.
Is it
Yeah.
worth it?
And
Let me work it.
Put the tight up and then reverse it. It's your
worth
pussy
it,
if you get it wet.
Wait, you actually know the words?
Yeah, I used to dance in the bar to this song.
What'd you say? What does she say in reverse?
It's your pussy if you get it wet. N-word.
Oh, my goodness.
I believe so.
So if I did it right, I was saying the N-word out loud backwards. Holy shit. Holy to hiss.
Hey, swear for me to find a friend yet? That's what I heard. She did some work with Sierra. Are you guys familiar with her?
Blonde?
A little bit.
No, she's Sierra. God, she
Okay.
had, I don't know.
It won't matter.
She had like a couple of huge hits. She's so fucking talented. I have a feeling they slept together.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
Sierra, I
interesting.
remember this one video. I watched it over and over. She's so fucking hot in this goddamn video. And she does these moves where it's like she like rubs the ground, then hits it and like, pumps it with her ass. Like she's fucking the floor. And I'm like, that's not how you fuck a dude. That is how you fuck a woman.
Oh, funny.
I was like, why? And then I look up, is Sierra, and then the
Right,
drop
sure.
down,
Yeah.
a lesbian.
Wow.
yeah. And I just realized what I'm doing, but like that is already the rumor. But because I hate like outing people, and I try not to do that. But please watch that video.
Okay.
I'm going to do that when I get home. My vibrator's charging. I'm ready.
I'm going to draw the blinds.
Yeah.
Comedian Sebastian Maniscalco will be the host of this year's VMAs.
Who's that?
He's popular now, big Italian guy, and he's like, we're giving out these awards, but it's named after a pedophile. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's pretty amazing.
So that'll be exciting to see.
Oh, my God.
The song is "Ride" by Sierra.
All right.
They like it when I ride it. They like it when I ride it. They like it when I ride the beat like a freak. Because, it's ride the beat. She's not talking about sex. Now, in this
Sure.
video, her dance moves are amazing. And she's like, strong as fuck. But then they cut to, because she's female, I think, she's like all like dolled up. But she's chewing her gum like a goddamn cow. She's fucking taking it out of her mouth. And Ludacris jumps in, and I always fast forward because he says the dumbest shit while she's acting like eye candy for him, but she's chewing her gum like crazy. Do yourself a favor if you're masturbating through this. Fast forward through Ludacris. He will ruin the entire thing for you.
He's a human mop.
Have you ever watched porn and then like a dog strolls into the shot and you can't do it anymore? And it's like, no, put the animal somewhere else. Then the dog will look you dead ass in the eye as he's strolling because he's like, yeah, it's weird. You've never seen, oh my God. It happens way too often in X videos. Get your shit together.
Nearly 2 years after Danny Masterson was accused of sexual assault by 4 women and fired from the Netflix show The Ranch. He, of course, was from That 70s Show. You would know him from The Redhead.
Okay.
I think he was Redhead, right? Stephen Hyde, he was one of the buddies, one of the kids. 4 people accusing him. He's saying it's ridiculous, of course. Laughable that women would say that.
I don't know that I would be laughing.
Right. Well, this is good time jolly news. Are you kidding me? Eye roll emoji.
Those are good jokes coming at me.
According to a 46-page complaint, Masterson conspired with the controversial Church of Scientology to make the 4 women's lives a living hell after they stepped forward and cooperated with police investigation. Masterson's ex-girlfriend, Chrissy Bixler, and Marie Reales, 3 of the 4 women were his exes. 3 of the 4 women were in the Church of Scientology.
Oh, wow.
Ex-girlfriend Chrissy Bixler and Marie Reales are named as plaintiffs in the lawsuit. The 2 other women go by Jane Doe. 3 of the women former church members. The harassment included public stalking, home surveillance, hacking, property vandalism, vehicle pursuit, identity theft, and threats. You've seen these Scientology reports.
Yes.
None of this is news to us, right?
How, when we know this much about Scientology, can we just be like, yeah, but the government doesn't know what to do? Like,
right.
We know.
Jane Doe number 2 claims that shortly after she made a social media post in March urging the FBI to investigate, her credit card was stolen, used to deliver $4,000 worth of merchandise from Victoria's Secret and vitamin suppliers.
That was not Andrea Allan, actually.
Yeah. This is beyond ridiculous, said Masterson. I'm not going to fight my ex-girlfriend in the media like she's been baiting me to do. That's exactly what he's doing.
He's minimizing it.
It's laughable.
You just turned 4 people into one person. I don't like being tricked, Danny. Guilty. There's 4 people, not one ex. I will beat her in court. I look forward to it because the public will finally be able to learn the truth and see how I've been railroaded by this woman.
I will beat her in court.
And once her lawsuit is thrown out, I intend to sue her and others who jumped on the bandwagon for the damage they caused me and my family.
This is the hard part because women are getting countersued for suing people, for just accusing people of rape. And that's really hard because a lot of times you can't prove that you were raped and now you're being countersued and you're fucked for a lot of money.
Yep.
By the way, going back just a little bit, another Sierra video, just to keep it a little light for a moment, Like a Boy. So if you're not done masturbating to the first one, Like a Boy, she's like, what if I was a boy? And I'm like, I don't have to use a lot of imagination here. Thank you. That's very good.
Do any dogs stroll in the video or?
No.
Good. I'll masturbate to it.
Nope. It's so good. She plays a boy and a girl in this video, and I'm attracted to the boy.
Oh, I may have seen this. It sounds familiar.
So good. Beyonce might have done the same thing,
Okay.
but Sierra did it first.
Right.
So, Aldo, don't be mad at me for saying anything about Beyonce. I will see you soon.
All right. It's that kind of conversation you couldn't have at Andrea's dinner table.
No.
Okay?
No.
All right, here's a new email from my dad. And then
What?
I'll tell you how you can download the entire series of the dad emails. All right? So the very last thing I wrote him,
Wait, this is you writing him.
the very last thing I wrote him was uneven oxen. I just rate it. Now I'm just rating shit. I don't even need it to make sense. Let's see where it goes. He brought this up one time saying about me and Hemda. How are we going to make it work? Yes, he did just literally visit us. He saw that we were in love and happy, but Hemda's Jewish. And when one person believes in Christ Jesus, the true God, and we all know it,
And you definitely do.
and one is Jewish, well, that's uneven oxen. And it's from this passage in the Bible that says, how can you move a cart if your ox aren't the same size?
And honestly, is it? Because I think he's making up an entire Bible.
A dog and a mouse can love each other,
God.
but where would they plant their seeds?
Oh my God.
Right? So I wrote uneven oxen just to see where it goes. He can't rate fast enough. Yes. But is that all 3? So he's alluding to the 3 past relationships he knows about. Me and Hemda, me and my ex-wife Katharine, and me and Kyle, my girlfriend now. And he's saying, so are you saying uneven oxen in all 3 of these relationships?
You know what's funny?
Is that I speak dad?
Yeah, but what's funny is you've written paragraphs describing, answering, whatever it is in full response to what he said. And he has come back with, I don't know what you could mean by that. But
I wrote uneven oxen. He knows exactly.
Yeah, he's like, oh, son, now we're talking.
Well, it's funny when they play dumb, how we've been saying this entire series that, he's like, I don't know what you're talking about this, and here's half a sentence. But when my ex-girlfriend, my ex-wife says, I have a crush on you, he gets it right away. Or rather, she said, I have a crush on somebody.
Right.
He knows it's
Must
him.
be me.
I'm in love with the priest. Me. That's me, and I get it. There's no question then. So these people know.
Didn't she say a man of the Lord?
Yeah, man of the
She
cloth.
didn't say priest
Right.
specifically, so it could be literally anyone.
Close enough. Could be anybody that wears cloth.
And that's the thing that you want to, put no doubt on.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing that you want to take chances on.
So yes, uneven auction, sure. Those are words, son. But all three? If so, look for a God-fearing one.
God-fearing what?
A woman. A God-fearing one.
Yeah,
Who-
definitely look for fear in their eyes.
Who will put you first in her life and you put her first in your life. Even though I, who married 51 years, am sneaking these emails behind your mom's back downstairs and whacking off in between them. You have immense talent, my son.
Oh, he always comes at you with that.
You do. You just need to channel it in a direction that might be more pleasing to your Savior. Vulgarity does not make you sound like the great person that you are. See, this is him hearing the show once in a blue moon.
But this is, again, this is not what you guys are talking about at all. And this is the thing that
Right.
I was taught, you throw emotion at it. So nobody said vulgarities. Nobody said anything offensive, really.
Right.
Everyone's just having a normal conversation. And he goes, wish I can talk to you, but all your vulgarity. And it's like, I don't
Right.
think that's what we're doing.
Yeah, fucking shit.
Vulgarity does not make you sound like the great person that you are, and using God's name inappropriately could prove to be a fast track to Hades.
Oh my God.
Now, yeah, exactly. This God will put me down there with Hitler, Mussolini, because I didn't think it's so bad to say, Jesus, I stubbed my toe.
Oh, fuck.
Right. If I didn't believe in Jesus Christ, that is the same as Jeffrey Epstein. We go to the same place. If you can wrap your mind around that.
Well, there must be so much room in hell and so little in heaven because
Right.
they are making weird decisions there.
Right. I read the Bible. There's not different hells. There's not a Jeffrey Epstein hell and a me that said, God damn it, like a turn of phrase.
Is there more?
Don't get intimate before. Now, my dad, again, met my current girlfriend.
Right.
Knows she has, that it's in deep, that she has 3 kids. Don't get intimate before you know the person for at least a year. I'll try to break that to Kyle. And marriage is truly on the very near horizon at the soonest. God bless you.
Oh, yes, he will.
And that's it. So here's what we're going to do.
Oh, boy.
Beginning of next week, you can go to keithandthegirl.com/dad, and you'll have an easy downloadable file. You can get all the emails that we've been doing back. I said, God bless you.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid to go to Hades.
KeithandTheGirl.com/dad. It's all going to be there. You asked for it. You got it. Andrea put it together. There you have it. All right.
Oof.
Well, I was saying how my ex just got engaged to a woman that she's been seeing for quite some time. I met her. Lovely. I'm thinking, do I have my ex send the engagement picture to my dad and say, you know what? Actually, I'm just going to marry a chick. Take care. Wish us luck. Bye.
Oh, that's funny.
Do you do pre-canas?
Oh.
I like that.
And that concludes season 1 of Cat's Cradle. Thank you. Katharine Heller, you can follow online, Twitter and Instagram at SPK Heller.
Oh, you got to follow her because we drove her crazy before the show and then we were going to cancel it. And now we kept her for 2 hours in a hot oven where we told her she has the worst father. And she just joked and joked and joked. I mean,
Today was a day. Andrea left. She's slicing wrists.
Is this Hades? Because it's great. I love being with you.
Oh, I'm so sorry that it was you, but we're so glad it was you when all this weird shit happened. So thank you.
I love you all.
The website is KatharineHeller.com, KATHARINE Heller.com. And the show's like we say, it's the Struggle Bus.
New episode today.
New episode today. And Tell the Bartender, which Hemda and I were on.
So good.
And always a treat. Just there's nothing more to say. Always a treat.
I love you guys.
Remember to share all the shows that you like. Catherine's, ours, Andrea's. That's how we make more.